This is the number of deaths and injuries. These aren't opinion polls. This is public health data. Okay, no, this is nobody's subjective opinion of kids under the age of 25. Now, of course, the vast majority of injuries and the vast majority of deaths are due to accident. That's this big section here. And then a substantial proportion of deaths and injuries are in this black section here that are assault and homicide. That's what we see on the media all the time. That's why we have the war on crime, the war on drugs, the war on all these things. That's very, very, very important. But look at this. 16.7% of deaths. These aren't attempts. And 15% of hospitalizations are suicide, or suicidal. But you don't hear about that at all. We don't hear about that. And the reason it's important is because this is happening all over the country. And the judge knows about this. 20% of our kids in detention have serious, biologically based disorders of the brain. Bipolar disorders, depressive disorders, schizophreniform disorders. Some of them are mentally retarded. And we're putting them in, and we're warehousing them in cages with violent kids because we can't get the wherewithal to do better by our own children. So we've got kids that are literally, this kid, he's not joking, by the way. He's not trying to put on a show. These gashes, the vertical ones like this, he's trying to gouge out his arteries. He's going to be dead, this kid. Because if he doesn't succeed this way, he's going to hang himself. And we put these kids in prison because we don't have psychiatric facilities for them, or we don't have the other kinds of facilities that we need for them. What kind of society puts sick kids into cages? We do, every day. The United States is the world's leading jailer, by far. This is a kind slide because it shows Russia right next to us. But you can see we outdo Russia, 750 per 100,000 people in jail in the US. Look at Europe. Look at South Africa, for God's sakes. Look at Canada. What in the hell are we doing? Here's a graph from Scientific American. You don't need to look at the numbers, but you can see, again, we're off the charts. But some detail. Non-Hispanic whites, 330. Still higher than Europe, but somewhere in the ballpark. Latinos, 1,000 per 100,000 people. African Americans, 2,250. 2,250, do you know what that would be? That wouldn't even fit in this ballroom. Now I've done it. That number would be on the other side, off over the ceiling. That's the rate in which we incarcerate. And that's why I'm so happy to see you addressing disproportionate minority involvement in youth, because that's what leads to the disproportionate minority involvement in adults. Don't take my word for it. The Center for Disease Control, hardly a liberal think tank, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and every thinking man and woman that I know of agrees that incarceration increases violence. And this is why we need to develop, and I'm not going to talk about programs today, I'm going to talk about the basis for programs, but we can see why incarcerating kids is a bad idea. Incarcerating them with adults is absolutely insane. And yet we're doing it. I don't know why. There's a poem by W.H. Auden. It was written during, I think it was 1945. It's called September 1945. And in it there's this passage. I and the public know what all school children learn. Those to whom evil is done do evil in return. We hurt our kids, they're going to hurt either themselves or somebody else back. It's just a fact.